Hi, and welcome to another edition of The Grid. It's that time of year again. High school football is getting started. It's already started around the state a little bit, but for this area, it'll all start Friday night. We're happy you're back with us again this season. We ended up last season at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Refugio making its third straight appearance at the state final, and that's where we're hoping this season will end again as well for as many teams as possible. I'm joined again this year. I'm Mike Foreman, the sports editor for The Advocate. I'm joined again this year by assistant sports editor Ray Castillo and sports reporter Marcus. What is your name? We're not Marcus Gutierrez. Anyways, we're going to talk about the games that we have this week a little bit. And before you go out, you might want to pick up today's Advocate because we have the edition of Kickoff 2018. And the thing that'll really help you out with this is we have all the schedules and rosters of all our area teams in this magazine, along with some features that we've kind of been slaving away on the last month or so while those players were out there in that heat doing two-a-days and stuff. So, but we're going to jump right into the season, and we might as well start right here at Memorial Stadium, where we have Victoria East opening up the season against the Columbia Roughnecks. Ray, what have you kind of learned about this game?
Well, I know that Victoria East is anxious to put last year behind them and get this year started. You know, a team that won 3 games last year and moving to a new district. But first they'll play a non-district game against West Columbia. A 4A team. They coming off their scrimmage against Bay City. A team that's in the same district as Bay City is Columbia. And I talked to Roland Gonzalez, the head coach, and he said they're ready for the season to get started. And he's going to be looking for his team to respond offensively and defensively. And those guys are going to be ready, especially after last season, just to, get things going.
I guess one of the most encouraging things about the scrimmage for East was the play of its defense.
Mm-hmm.
Bay City didn't score in the controlled scrimmage part, and then the Black Hats only had 1 touchdown and a field goal in the game portion, the touchdown coming on a scramble by Dylan Davidson. So I guess that they're pleased because, let's face it, last year they gave up too many points.
Oh yeah, they gave over 40 a game, and they're looking to change that this year. I talked with Demetric Wright, senior cornerback, and he's looking for guys to contain the middle of the field and stop the ball, and then that's just their mindset is defense this year. And after last year, like you said, Mike, that's really what they want to capitalize on.
Right, and the thing about, and we'll talk about this with Marcus as well, as for both East and West, they don't have much time to get ready for district,
Right.
Being in a 9-team district. So that makes these non-district games even more important for both of them, I would think.
Absolutely. After Columbia, they got Gregory Portland this week, and then it's opening district play against Miller. So just like that, it'll be district time. 15 5A Division 1, the new district after coming from 27 5A.
Right, and let's go to Marcus now because he'll be in Port Lavaca on Friday night for West and Calhoun. This, of course, it was a district rivalry the last 2 years. Now they're separated because they split Class 4A into divisions, and West went to D1 and Calhoun D2. But still, I'm sure a lot of intensity in this game, because, the closeness and everything.
Oh yeah, last year's game, Calhoun was up 21-15 at one point, and then that fumbling thing happened again with the Sand Crabs, and West was able to come back. So these two teams know each other very much. The communities are close, so everyone knows everybody. So I expect Sand Crab Stadium to be packed on Friday. But you look at a West team, third year, Courtney boys. This might be the year something big might happen. The Warriors made the playoffs under him for the first time. They went 5-6, made it to the area round with a young team and a young core. We got to learn about new players. Tyvon Hardrick and Bryce Sitka really stepped up for the Warriors, and I could see those guys having a big junior year this year. Talking with them, they want something special this season, and they have the talent to do that, to come back. We look at Calhoun. They have a lot of people coming back too. The last 2 years haven't been the best for Coach Whitaker down there in Port Lavaca, but he said, this year, this team they could be something special. Without making the playoffs the last 2 seasons, the Sand Crabs are really fighting to get in, and they'll have great players on offense and defense. They're going to be led by Connor Kessler, junior quarterback. He stepped in last season briefly for Marshall Batts, and he can run the option and he can throw the ball. So I think that's going to be a little more. The Sand Crabs might throw a little bit more this year with him being able to throw the ball. The young fullback, Steve Johnson, he's a monster. He's bigger than me. And I could see him having a big year for the Sand Crabs. We all know about Silas Montgomery. He has an injury right now, but not sure when he's going to be back. But that young man is a leader on that defense, and once he gets back, the team's going to get even better. So Calhoun and West will be battling on Friday, but look for them to both have great years this year.
I'm really curious to see how Hardrick runs this year. Last year he was kind of an unknown, and I think a lot of people weren't prepared to face him. This year, I would imagine defenses are going to gear up to stop him.
Yeah, I would say so too. But talking with him, he preached to me, during the training camp and at media day that he wants to be a team player. He wants to do whatever it takes to help that team. His team this year, so look for him to do more things to helping his team. And news that came down last week about Jordan Fillmore, an undisclosed injury. He's not going to be able to play tomorrow. So we'll see who's starting tomorrow for West. So we'll keep you guys updated once we find out what's going on there. But West's not starting out the season good without their senior starting quarterback. So tomorrow is going to be a real test to see what West is all about.
And I guess the question for the Warriors is, will they be able to throw the ball? Because if they aren't able to throw it, teams are just going to stack the line for Hardrick.
Yeah, that's true, and we'll find out more tomorrow, like I said. Yeah. But Hardrick is a really special talent. It's going to take all those people on defense to bring him down, but we'll get to know more each and every week. But everyone's just excited to have football back.
And there is another game in town tomorrow night at Patty Wilder Stadium, actually. Yeah. The St. Joseph Flyers and the Bloomington Bobcats kind of renewing that rivalry that's pretty much gone on and off. Of course, last year they didn't get to play because of the hurricane. But this year they're playing. We got 2 new coaches, Ray. We have, Chris Horn over at Bloomington, and of course Brian Jones at St. Joseph. Even though both of them were at their schools last year, they're not new to the school, but they're new to being a head coach. What do you think fans should look for?
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting for Bloomington. They're going to be hoping to come out. Obviously the past hasn't been on their side. They coming in struggling. It's been 19 years since they made the playoffs, and they're looking to end that this year. And St. Joseph, a lot of familiar faces on that team. And getting some players from Victoria East over the off season, and they'll be making their St. Joseph debuts. But anyway, like you said, Mike, first year, coaching debuts for Chris Horn and Brian Jones. Horn, like you said, he's not new to the team. He was the offensive coordinator last year, and Brian was also on the team too with St. Joseph. But yeah, I think they're going to be seeing a young Bloomington team. They just named their quarterback today, Sebastian Castro. He's a senior. And, he's pretty athletic. I got to see them against Yorktown in the scrimmage. Yorktown, is another, obviously it was a tough challenge for them, but, they showed signs of what could happen this year, with his scrambling. And, he made some plays. He threw some balls, passes. He made some good passes. But, it's a young team. It'll be interesting. As for St. Joseph, they do have some experience with Jacob Wardowski coming back. And, he's ready for his junior year. And, he showed signs of what's to come in the future. So I think it'll be a good game. St. Joseph has the experience, and Bloomington, they're looking to see where they're at before they begin district play.
Right, and I'm curious about St. Joseph's offense. I'm right there with the new coaches. It could be do you think it'd be more explosive?
Yeah, and it starts with Bordowski. Him having a year under his belt. They didn't have the season they would have liked. St. Joseph, but hopefully with these new additions, he could take advantage of that. Quincy Johnson at running back, Peyton Terrell's back, another back. So I think Bordowski in this second year, at quarterback can really do some damage.
Right, and of course we have just a slew of games around the area. I'll be in Cuero Gobbler Stadium, where we have Bay City and Cuero. First time in a while that these two teams have played. Of course, both teams have great tradition. Both teams have won state championships. Cuero's been kind of coming up a little short, trying to get there the last few years, and Bay City, of course, has been trying to get on the way back. Bay City has a new coach. Pat Matthews took over for Lupe Flores, and he's kind of putting in a new offense. And the Black Cats, with a great quarterback in Dylan Davidson, who he can run, he can throw. He's just a great athlete. But they've struggled early in their scrimmages trying to kind of get used to that offense. And Cuero, on the other hand, we're just going to have to wait and see how Jordan Whittington is. Their great wide receiver, defensive back, kick returner who's going to UT. Jordan has been banged up a little bit. Coach Travis Reeve said this week that he was able to practice some this week. So we're going to have to wait to game time. But they have a lot of weapons too. And that should be a very interesting game. We have some other interesting games around the area, Marks. One that stands out to me is Shiner and Hallettsville. That'll be in Shiner. Of course, both teams, a lot of tradition there. They're real close to each other. The kids know each other. Hallettsville handled them last year, but Shiner has a lot of people back this year. And Hallettsville, from what Coach Pensick told me, has had like 19 kids on the varsity roster.
Yeah, last year, speaking about Shiner, we knew Shiner was going to be a young team last year. Wasn't sure what's going to happen, but they impressed a lot of people around here, and all those kids are back with a couple of additions of some new freshmen that are going to have an impact for Shiner. But Coach Cherney did a great job last year, and they're ranked very high in the polls in the preseason polls. So I expect a lot out of them. Coach Cherney's a great coach. He teaches the fundamentals. I'm pretty sure that Veer offense is going to be ready to go against Hallettsville. Hallettsville in the past, they've had some numbers, but this year there's not a lot of kids there. That's bad to hear, but when you play Hallettsville, you're going to get a great game every time. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. Those kids are going to fight all the way until the fourth quarter. So that's something that Hallettsville can hang their head on. And Jonathan Brooks, the brother of Jordan Brooks, who graduated, he's a sophomore. I'm pretty sure he's going to be very important in that offense, running the ball and catching it. So it's going to be a great game. I think 2 years ago I went to go watch that game. A lot of fans show up. It's a loud stadium, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be rocking that Comanche Stadium.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Shiner, of course, ranked number 4 in the Class 2A poll. The number 1 team, of course, is Refugio. They had a game change. They were supposed to go over to Tidehaven. Tidehaven had some issues with the field, so that game will be in Refugio at Jack Sportsman Bobcat Stadium. It's interesting, too, for Refugio because they will have a new quarterback this year. Of course, I think most people know that their quarterback, Jared Kelly, last year has decided to concentrate on baseball. So the new quarterback will be either his brother Jordan, who's a freshman, or Austin Ochoa came from Gregory Portland. But most of the scrimmage, Jordan got a lot of the playing time. And Tidehaven is coming off one of its best seasons in school history. The Tigers graduated a lot, though, so they're going to be a young team. I think their coach, David Lucio, even said that they're going to be young, but they're going to get after it. Oh, yeah. So, anybody that's ever lined up against Tidehaven knows that that's a scrappy team, and they'll get after it. And kind of moving on for teams with high expectations, the Goliad Tigers. Boy, fans over there are really going crazy. I mean, this is the year, that they've been waiting for. After last year, going to the quarterfinals, losing to Yoakum, almost everybody's back, and a very talented Goliad team. I had a chance to see Goliad scrimmage East Bernard. Goliad opens the season against Columbus. That'll be, a real chance for people to kind of get a look at some of those players.
Yeah, like you said, Mike, this is the year. A lot of heavy senior class with a lot of experience. And when I went to practice, last month, like Rocky Morris said, that loss to Yoakum was just the biggest motivation for him this year. And Logan Bland agreed. Those guys are ready. It's going to be an interesting season with them in the new district with some heavy competition. Yoakum and Hallettsville, to say the least. So, and Edna, can't forget Edna. But yeah, that it's going to be an exciting year for the Tigers.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Yoakum is going over to play at Bernie. They always, I don't know what Coach Bo Robinson likes to schedule those games early on that are, making that long trip, playing a bigger school this time. But it'll be a good test for him because, it's like Bo has said that Yoakum's talented. It's just, obviously when you lose 4 guys that signed with Division I schools, it's gonna hurt. But they have talent there, and they're ranked number 9 in the state. So Yoakum is not a team that people should overlook. There's quite a few teams around the area, that are hoping to have good seasons. And, we're going to have updates on all the games tomorrow night. And, you can kind of follow us on Twitter and look for us. And, of course, we'll have the game stories in the Advocate on Sunday in the Grid. And they'll be online on HavelSports.com just as soon as we can. So follow us, and we'll keep you updated throughout the season. And hopefully we'll be back next week with another edition of the Grid.